We're here. Another episode of AEW Unrestricted. As my shit's falling over on the side. Sorry. Yeah. It's early.
Yeah. Hi. Tony Schiavone. And,
Hi, Tony Schiavone. This is Aubrey Edwards. How are you doing today?
Greatest referee ever.
Checks in the mail,
Aubrey
Tony.
Edwards. Yep. Hey, we welcome the natural Dustin Rhodes with us. Dustin, thanks for coming. Thanks for dressing up. Good to see you.
Okay, hold on, guys. Now we're ready to go.
You can't do the clacker. They have to use that specifically so they know when to cut.
I know how to. This is my first rodeo in production.
Apparently it is because you're not talking to the microphone. Okay.
It's directional,
There you go.
sir. It's directional.
Look,
He said
guys,
he
you
knows, but really is full of shit. That's what I
Please,
learned today.
please, y'all be gentle with me. I'm very fragile.
Well, first of all, it's great
Like
to see
this?
you.
Yes, like that.
Okay, so just look this way.
Yes.
All right.
The video
It's
version
good
of this
to
podcast
it's
is gonna
good
be
to
great.
see y'all too, but I can't turn because I have to talk into the mic. So, hi Tony, how are you?
Is your neck stiff? You feeling okay?
So it must be a thrill for you to be back and in pro wrestling.
We're never going to get this thing
Absolutely.
started.
Okay.
is-
Our thanks to Dustin
it-
Rhodes for being with us. What the hell?
This is a thrill.
It is.
Great.
Okay.
Why is the camera not looking at me? What
There-
the
there-
fuck
that
is
one
this
is-
shit?
there's
going on?
camera.
Oh, okay. So I have to look over there.
Okay. Now you can
Okay. Thank you for having me, Tony.
Hey,
Aubrey.
it's great to have you.
It's a
What is
pleasure.
it? What is it like for you sitting right next to the greatest referee
God damn it, guys.
in the history of the business?
She, when we talked about doing this podcast, here's a story, and I brought this up many times. We talked about doing this podcast with Nick Sobek.
Yeah, it was back in D.C.
In D.C.
First episode.
He said, "Who you want to work with?" I said, "I want to work with Aubrey."
Why?
Because you have such a great outgoing.
You know I'm married, right?
Well, you are now.
Oh, okay.
A great outgoing friend.
That
outgoing.
hasn't stopped anybody in the business.
No, it's wrestling.
A great outgoing personality, and she does, and it's kind of contagious, and you're a lot of fun to be
You
around.
just like it because I make dick jokes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Do you really? You're
Oh, my
allowed
God.
to say that crap on here?
Yeah, it's unrestricted.
So that doesn't mean actually unrestricted, does it?
Oh,
No,
no, it
it
does.
really
they haven't told me to
does.
stop yet. Eventually, I'll get like the email from Stacy saying,
Tony
hey,
wants to
you need
move
to
on.
hold
Look,
it
he's
back.
So
looking
back
at
to
his
the questions about Dustin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've had a lot of great moments in your career, and how about the moment in AEW when you wrestled Cody at Double or Nothing? Let's start with that.
Match of the
How
year,
would you,
by
how
the
would you
way.
rank that as?
You want me to just tell the story of that?
Yes, please.
Yes, we do.
Well, when you're sitting at home for a couple of months and with another company who doesn't value you at all, and you're sitting there and you have so much more to offer and give, you kind of lose your passion. And for the first time in my 31 years, I lost my passion for the wrestling business. I loved wrestling, kind of came out of my mother's womb wanting to be a wrestler. And we were raised that way. And Dad wanted something different for me. He did not want me to go through the hardships that he went through. And I understand that looking back at it now. But I'm sitting there, man, just knowing I have so much more to give, and they just will not give me the time of day. And I'd had enough. I said enough was enough. And for the first time, I kind of stood up for myself in a big way and said, I am quitting. I am asking you for my release. I'm done. I'm not happy here anymore. And you know how they do. They make you kind of wait it out, and it was getting very close to Double or Nothing. And Cody called me. And he said, would you like to work a match with me? And at first I thought, we have tried this for years and years and years.
Because you guys pitched this match at WWE.
For years, and they told us it was not good enough to be on the big stage.
I don't understand
heard
why.
that more than once. Every year,
It's a
I
story
tried.
built in.
Cody tried. Yeah, right. It is. But they didn't see any value in it. So, after years of that, it's like I started thinking, could it be too late for this match to take place? I'm 50 years old. Could I give a performance for my brother Cody, for the wrestling world and the fans that I could be proud of? So I was nervous. I was scared. The competition is fierce right now. It's very athletic, very fast. The talent are young, hungry, passionate. And here I am, 31 years in the business, and it's like of course, I said yes to Cody, but I had that thing in the back of my head, and I was very scared, very nervous how the AEW crowd would take to me, because I'd been WWE for so long, and I knew and I had heard that they were different crowds, and I was nervous about all kinds of things. So I lived in my head for way too long leading up to that match. We finally get there, and it's just like I was made to feel loved and cared for and respected in the business from day one that I met Tony Khan and Cody. Arms open. It's great. It was awesome, and the announcements are made, and Cody goes to the ring. My time's there. I'm nervous as crazy. I'm sweating like a pig. I'm caffeined out of my mind. Just hoping that I can get through this 20-something minutes. My music hit, and I walked out, and I got a really good reaction. And I was like, okay, these two stories, because the two interviews, the two promos that we cut for the Road to, Double or Nothing,
they were fantastic.
That's all we did.
Yeah.
There was no build-up for this or anything, but those were strong enough that that's all the build-up we needed. And I get to the ring, and they're chanting, both Cody, Dustin, right? And then the bell rings, and they started the Dusty chant. And immediately, and I just want to take you out of this because this is the only way that I can explain it. If you've seen the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance, you have Will Smith, right, who is the caddy for Matt Damon, and he tries to help him find himself again and get him into the zone, and he teaches him how to do it. And they're standing on the fairway, and the gallery is on both sides of the fairway, and he can't focus, right? So Will Smith teaches him how to focus. And then all of a sudden, Matt's looking down the fairway, the pin gets closer, the fans disappear, and he sees nothing but the hole, right? Mm-hmm. That's the feeling I got. They started the Dusty chants, and I pointed up to the sky, and I knew he was there with us in the rafters. It's very emotional when I talk about it because I knew he was there. And they started the chants, and everybody in the arena disappeared for me. I could see them, but I couldn't see them. I could hear them, but I couldn't hear them. Mm-hmm. I was laser focused from that point on at getting the job done and the task at hand that needed to be done. And me and Cody could have missed a few things, which we didn't, but we could have missed a few things and it wouldn't have mattered. The stars aligned for that match. And in my opinion, it was perfection. I know Cody says, it probably wasn't his greatest match ever, and I understand that. But for me, this was the tops. It topped everything I've done in the business.
That's wonderful.
And it was a special night. It was very emotional. You had the crowd invested in this, mm-hmm. and they were standing because we were telling a story which not everybody does in the business anymore. And it brought it back for me watching Dad, in 1986 or around there, like real pro wrestling where there was blood and guts, and I did bleed excessively, and I was very, very worried about that, and Cody was worried about that, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm getting dizzy, and it's not stopping, and Cody's like, do we need to go? Should we go home now? And I'm like, no, let's do this. I was fine, but man, it was just a gusher, and it was coming, and it wouldn't stop. Very dizzy for a couple of days, but after that match, man, it was like, wow, it was like such a weight had been lifted. And at that moment right there, I had found my passion again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Such a wonderful story.
That's a great story.
Thank you.
It really is. Cody said on...
Are we done?
No, we're not.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Cody said on the earlier podcast we had, or podcast we had done with him, is that he kept thinking, man, I need to stick a thumb. That's all he could think about, how much you were bleeding. And should I stick a thumb in it, stop him bleeding? So that was during the course of the match. I guess you guys were really concerned about that, right?
We were, and I got up for a superplex on the top, and I started to get dizzy, mm-hmm. and we had to go. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we were going to end up on the floor.
Right. And
we did it, and it was okay. Thank God, everything went off as planned. But man, it was slippery. I'm very dizzy. And it was just one of those touching moments, man. You know, it's like I look back at some of the stills, and I see Cody. He's bent down on the ground, and I'm right beside him, and I'm touching his back. And it's one of those moments that, as a wrestling fan, you look at that, and you have them in the palm of your hand at that point, because they're looking like, what the hell is going on here? These two brothers are going to war, but he still loves him. You know what I mean? They're touching each other. They're holding on to each other. They're fighting a war which they can barely stand up anymore, and it's storytelling at its finest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So backstage now, you see Cody backstage here at AEW with the headset on. He's at the go position. You're back there sometime. What do you think when you look at your younger brother doing all this?
I think Cody has really grabbed this ball and taken off with it. I see Cody personally, and I'm not just saying this because he's my brother, but he does the most work here, backstage and out in the ring. I mean, he's such a great performer. But the things that really impress me are the things that he does backstage, from holding the meetings to just knowing what is needed to be done. Even though you have your Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Tony, the group collective there. But Cody, man, because I know him and I'm watching him just handle business on the business side of it, and it's just really impressive, and it reminds me of Dad a lot. Like Dad had that thing about him. I'm more of the performer and the promo guy that can cut the promos and wrestle. Cody has the whole package, I think. That's a giant burden on anybody's back. It is hard to please the fans all the time with a whole roster of things and a whole TV show. It's tough to do. And he's handling it, and he's listening to the people. He's listening to their needs and their wants, and we try our best to give them what they want. And, you know, you learn from your small mistakes, and you try to build upon those the next week and not have those same mistakes, and he's really handling it well.
So you say you're the promo guy and the performer guy, but I mean, one of the things that, like, we work the most together in your class that you run every Wednesday.
Right.
And that's probably one of my favorite parts of Wednesday Dynamite, is just getting to, like, work with you and the rest of the girls, learning from you and all of your knowledge. So how did that whole part start, like you coming in as a coach?
Well, you know, when we were talking about, I wasn't offered a contract. You know, they wanted to see me. Tony wanted to see me. And from what I understand, he just loves Dustin. He knows every single one of my matches.
He knows everything about every match.
And the matches I don't even remember having, you know, and the moves in those matches. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And Cody said, you know, come to Fight for the Fallen, and let's have this tag match against the Young Bucks, and then we'll talk. You know, you can have a meeting with Tony or whatever, but I'm staying out of this one. I'm staying out of this one because you're my brother, and that's just what I need to do. You need to talk to Tony. So I talked to him, and we got our deal worked out, which was great, as a in-ring performer and as a promo coach and coach. And Brandy just asked me, you know, she came up to me and said, hey, I would like to get in there and train with you, maybe get some of the girls in there. I'm like, awesome. So we did that, man, and we've made it a weekly thing, and it's one of my highlights of the day is to get in there and to see the young women that we have, and they're my kids. I consider everybody here my kids, even though they're young men and women. I really love them, and it's important that I pass on my knowledge to them like the old-timers did for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people that's going to be very selfish and say, you know what, you don't deserve this. It's not for you. I'm gonna let them know I'm gonna give them my knowledge and try to teach them the best of my ability. They use it. If they don't, that's fine. You know what I mean? But you find out real quick after the years of seeing it who wants it and who doesn't.
Right.
And then you move on to the people who actually want to help, want to help, want the help, and it's rewarding for me to see them learn something and utilize it in a match on TV. It makes me smile. So, it's a fun. That's probably my funnest thing that I do during the day, and to help the kids, when they're struggling with promos, the ones that really need it, to bring out their character a little bit and to be more boisterous and loud in certain points, and your facial expressions. You tell a story, man. Tell me a story on a promo, just like you do in a match.
We're talking.
Does that make sense? Are you tired? Did you go to sleep?
I did go to sleep. How did you sleep?
Okay.
I woke up a couple of times.
It's okay.
I woke up. I think there was one word you said,
didn't ask
and it
you.
woke me up.
He didn't ask
Okay.
you.
Well,
Sorry, guys.
I was just
Thank
letting you know. Okay. I want to talk about Dustin, your great career moments, because you've had a long and illustrious career, 31 years. I was there when you first started, kind of, and you have some. Would you consider great moments in your career? I know we talked about the Cody match, and that's got to be one of them, obviously. But going back before that, there were moments with WCW, moments with WWF, WE. Can you kind of list them, or?
So, I think in the WCW, some of the great moments I had were with the tag match in Savannah, Georgia, where I had a mystery partner in Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, and we won the titles that night. It was a very electric night. They were loud as hell, man, and it was such a good surprise, even though he had a dragon mask on. It's like, who is that? Nobody could, I'm not sure if anybody thought that was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, but they popped when they took the mask off. And when we won the titles was one of the loudest nights I believe I've ever been involved in a match, for me personally. It's great. Learning from Arn Anderson. These are my teachers: Barry Windham, Arn Anderson, Larry Zbyszko. Larry didn't teach me too much because he's a shits. Bobby Eaton. Right? Those guys right there were my teachers, and Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat taught me how to sell. And we would have these hour-long Broadway matches, and I would be selling a couple nights, and we were working with Arn and Bobby, and then Ricky wouldn't want me to sell anymore, and he would want to sell, and I couldn't understand why, but he was teaching me, and I had the best seat in the house to stand there on the apron and watch him tell a story with him getting his ass kicked. And that taught me a lot about how to sell and how your facial expressions need to be up and looking at the crowd and really selling to them and making them believe. More moments, Steve Austin. We had some really, really classic matches. Halloween Havoc, United States title. Any time I tagged with Barry was very special for me. We grew up together. He was like my best friend. Moving on from WCW.
You still stay in touch with Barry?
I do occasionally. Barry's kind of lost his way.
Really?
A little bit.
He's had some health issues too.
He has.
Yeah.
I heard he's big as a house, like Blackjack.
Blackjack was really
Sure.
good too. So moving on from WCW.
Yes. WWE. We can talk about that crap company, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes, we
good.
can.
Okay.
Because it's a shit. But I had some good moments in it.
Yeah, the longevity of Goldust is one of the big things of the WWE.
It's such a huge impact.
It really
in
right.
the industry even today. Like
Right.
just talking to say Sonny Kiss and the impact it's made on him.
Well, yeah, we can get to the Sonny Kiss and the Goldust issues because back then it was you did not do it.
No.
Right? So it was really stepping over the line. And Vince called me and he presented this character to me and he kept calling it androgynous, right? And I'm like, I'm just listening to him and he's explaining the character and we hang up. I decided to go up in Stanford and at the office and meet up and we talk about the character. As soon as I hung up the phone, I looked up in the dictionary what androgynous meant because I didn't know.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck did I just agree to, right? I had no clue. I thought he was wanting me to kind of, and it is androgynous, but I just didn't know what that meant. Like a Adrian Street or Adrian Adonis type character.
Right.
But with paint, because I wanted to do the paint. I was a big fan of Sting's face paint and face paint in general. So we'll go up there, the first 6 months, this character, I was very lost because I was trying to figure out how to be a heel for the first time in my short career and learning a character too. So it was
It's a lot.
two
to handle all at
daunting
once.
things to try to figure out, and Vince gave me full reign with the character. He was pushing it, and you had the group, the clique, you had all these factions that, they got stuff done if they didn't like you, right? But Vince
That's right.
was going with me. And that's the only thing that I had going for me was that he was not going to back down, and he was letting me experiment and letting me find my way in this character. But I was not getting the reactions that I really was looking for, right, in the ring. And it took a while. And then I started working Savio Vega. And Savio would try so hard to get me to try these couple of things that were just way over the line for me. I'm from Texas. I was raised kind of in the country and things like that. So I'm a country boy. I'm a redneck. And to do this, I was just like, I'm scared to death to do that. But that's when I realized, when I finally did it, that to make something successful, you have to step out of yourself, outside of the box. And you got to create some magic of your own. You can't just be scared all the time. You got to take a chance. And we were in Madison Square Garden, and this was a special night. That's why I'm telling the story. And Savio finally talked me into doing this thing. Vince was in attendance because back then he was like one of the boys still. And he would go to the matches and hang out at the curtain and ooh and ah while the matches were going on. So he was like one of the boys you could talk to. So he finally talks me into this. And New York is a predominantly Puerto Rican area, right? And Savio Vega is Puerto Rican. So he talks me into it. I'm nervous as shit. We go out there. We start wrestling, and having our match. I was the Intercontinental Champion at the time. He locks up with me, and he says, okay, we're going to do it now. And I'm like, oh, God. So all it was me locking up, going behind him, rubbing up and down his chest, and kind of grazing over his privates downstairs, And then he pushes away and chases me, and I take a powder. That's it. That was it, right?
Just this very simple move.
Very simple. And I did it, and I took a powder, and the fucking place for the first time in like 6-7 months erupted with every kind of profane thing just thrown my way. And it was like, holy shit. And it was so simple, and I was so scared to try that it's like, I couldn't believe it. Just the reaction. And if I would have been so close to the rail, that there would have been swinging. It was bad. It was major heat. Because you did not do that back then. So I roll in, and Savio's over in the corner, and he's laughing his ass off. And I'm like, I lock up with him, and I'm like, what the fuck are you laughing at? I said, yeah, I told you, man. I told you. We're going to do it again. We're going to do this again. I'm like, what are we doing? So I backed him up in the corner. He says, I'm going to spin you, or he backed me up to the corner. I want you to spin me around and turn around and rub your ass in my crotch. And I'll push you off. You take a powder again.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
Right.
And it
very,
worked.
very simple.
And they were louder this time. And I'm like,
because you've
So-
already got him.
right then in Madison Square Garden, I found Gold Dust.
Yes.
And from that point on, man, it was a magical run for a couple years. I had the Roddy Piper moment, WrestleMania 12, which was at that point tops for me, right? And it was tops until Cody, right? And then you have the Starcade, or not Starcade. You have, going back to WCW War Games. I forgot all about that. That was one of my favorite moments of all time. The Sting Squadron and Dangerous Alliance. Incredible match.
Yeah.
So much fun. Blood and guts and things that I really loved about the business. And, anytime that they had War Games, I wanted to be involved in it. And I was involved in a few. So it was awesome. I loved that. And here we are. Is that 15 minutes?
No, we got plenty more.
Okay. All right. It was only like 4 minutes, right?
I remember, because I did not watch much of the WWE, but I remember seeing you and Terry on Conan O'Brien when you walked down. And you sat down and you looked at Conan and said, "Is that a microphone that you have, or are you just happy to see me?"
Right.
And I almost fell out of my chair because that was my first time I'd ever seen Goldust.
Right.
And I got to thinking, like you were thinking,
Oh, boy.
what the fuck is going on here?
Oh, boy.
Right. But it was, I mean, you made it work. But my question is, and I've always wanted to ask you this, do you think, because I was so close to your dad, he had your dad wear polka dots, and he had you dress up like this, and then Cody dressed up like Stardust. Do you think that was just trying to make fun of the Rhodes family? Is that valid to say that, or not? I mean, you guys made it work. All of you made it work, and you made money with it, and that's the key. But
it is.
Do you think there was some ulterior motive to this?
There could have been. I'm not real sure. At the beginning, I was thinking that,
Right.
but then Vince kept going with me, and I don't know if he really didn't give a shit or.
Because your dad always
Was
called himself Goldust too at times.
Huh?
Your dad called himself Goldust at times too.
He did?
Oh yeah,
Goldust?
Goldust.
When? I've never heard that
Oh,
story.
absolutely. You never heard that story?
No.
He would use it in some of his promos, and not that he would refer to himself as Goldust, but he would use the word Goldust in some of his promos.
I swear to God, I've never heard that.
There may be a
Or was it Stardust?
No, I thought it was Goldust.
Because he did Stardust.
Okay. Didn't he have tights one time that said Goldust on it?
Stardust.
Said Stardust.
Stardust.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm old. I don't remember everything.
That's
so
okay,
anyway,
man.
Senile, it's
Yeah,
fine, Tony.
back to that's
If
why
Tony
she's-
Khan was here, he would know.
Let's go find
See
Tony.
what?
Let me text Tony. He'll tell us the
back
time,
to-
the date,
So
the
back to that question,
location.
you guys made it work, but sometimes I look at that and think, gosh, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
Because
it's a
Bruce,
rib, right?
yeah, right. Because Bruce Pritchard told me, and I was working for Vince at the time. He said, Dusty's coming in. I said, great. He said he's going to wear polka dots. I went, bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, he is. And I said, no, you're lying. And I didn't believe him. And then I saw him wear them, and I saw he made them work. Of course he did, right? But sometimes I just thought it was a big rib on the family because, I mean, you guys.
It probably was,
I mean,
but we made money for him.
Right.
We made money ourselves,
Right.
so it was fun. And I was young, so I didn't really think about those things or look too much in depth. I mean, Vince and I always, he would come to me and, he would say, Dustin, you're going to get a lot of flack on this. And he would be very personable with me. And he would say, if you have any problems, you call me. And I did on more than a few occasions, not huge problems, but just minor things that, I was trying to work out because, I was unsure at the time because I was so young. And he helped me through all of that stuff. So if it was a rib, I don't know, man. Looking back at it, though, now, I don't think so now.
Mm-hmm.
At 50, I'm not sure about Dad, but for me, he probably meant every bit of it.
I mean,
at
especially
least
if
I'm
he's so
hoping.
committed to it.
Because I remember one time when Dad told me this. We were working $1 Million Man at Ted DiBiase, and Dad was on his way out. He was going back to Florida to open up a territory there, or try to revive a territory under a new moniker. And I wanted to go with him, so I see Dad talking to Vince, and Dad told me, well, you need to ask for your release, because I'd been there about 6 months, I guess, or something. So I went up and asked, so I would like to go with my father to finish or to kick back up this company with him. And he said yes. He let me go right away. It was a lot different back then than it was now.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then he pulled, and Dad told me this. He said he pulled Dusty aside later, and he said, "You take him now, but I'm going to bring him back and make him a star." That's what he. And I don't know if Dad. I don't think my dad was lying to me about that, but he kept that from me for a good many years.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince did. He made me a star, but a lot of that had to do with the actual talent having to find themselves, and that's what they have to do today: find themselves to become a star. You can't just magically be given a gimmick and it's going to work.
Right.
You have to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the gimmick has certainly worked, and we're not going to let you get away without talking about your family and your dad, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
The question I need to ask y'all is, are my promos any good?
Absolutely.
So I'm a good promo teacher then?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I mean, you're teaching
Thank God. I was waiting for Tony to say that, though, because he's looking at me like, well, I don't know, man.
Have you been working with Britt Baker?
This is Cody's project.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He won't let me touch these promos,
Okay.
so I'm like, okay,
That's kind of
fine.
special to me.
Is that why
you know?
you're asking? Because
Yeah,
you're a shitty barista?
She's doing well. She's doing well.
Yeah.
She did good last week. Hopefully she doesn't lose her way in this promo and get lost.
right. That's important, isn't it?
Yes.
To focus, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
To stay focused. That's very
Not try to memorize so much and just be real.
Because, I mean, that's what the audience connects to.
And that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
I see big things out of Brett. You know, I really do. I want this heel run of hers to be explosive and mean something. I want all of our ladies to actually really step up. You know what I mean? I want them to succeed. Probably more so than most of the guys because I think they deserve it. We just got to get them there.
Right.
Go
So-
ahead. Sorry, I just cut you
No,
off.
it's
didn't I?
fine. I mean, everything you're talking about is great.
Anyway, Tony, so what I was saying.
Yeah. we do want to talk about your.
We do want to talk about your family. a little
Yeah,
bit.
your youngest, your first time that you said, "Hey, I want to be a wrestler." Do you remember when that was?
You were saying you came out of the womb wanting to wrestle.
Right.
Do not remember the exact age I was, but I know it was 6, 7.
So it was always something that you just kind of knew you were going to do.
Yeah, yeah.
At what point did you kind of realize who your dad was to this business? 'Cause it's
Probably
like,
around 10, 11 years old. Just how big of a
how big of an impact he's made.
how big of an impact he was in my life, and it just made it bigger, you know, because of the wrestling business.
Right.
Just like, oh my God, my dad is
that guy.
it's incredible, right? I always wanted to wrestle. He didn't want me to wrestle.
Why is that?
Well, like I said, it's there were divorces, a lot of divorces, a lot of being away from your families, and I think that's one of the reasons probably that he wanted me away from that. He wanted something better for me. He wanted me to go to college and play football, and I had coaches come over to the house for dinner during my scholarship offer season there. And
You went to East Meck High School, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Finished out there, had some scholarship offers to Miami, University of Louisville, Utah State, Colorado. And they came to the house and they sat down with Dad. He really took it serious. But I wasn't taking school serious. I love football. I knew I wanted to be a wrestler, but I love football.
Right.
And school was just not one of my things, man. I mean, hell, I cheated on an English exam my senior year and almost didn't graduate. So my ACT scores were the shits. They were bad. And I think he realized that,
Well, it wasn't where your passion was at.
it wasn't where my passion was at. I love football, though, It was just, and they moved to Dallas, and I moved to Dallas with them. And I picked him up from the airport. And I think this is when he realized, he was probably thinking about it on the plane ride from wherever they were at. He said, and we have about a 40-minute drive. He said, I'm going to break you into the business. And I'm like, what?
It's happening.
It is, right? It's happening. And he gave me a 45-minute crash course kind of the business. And he said, you're going to get in your car tomorrow or the next day, whenever it was, and drive to Amarillo while he's on his private jet, basically, right? On the Turner jet, the
Crockett jet.
Crockett jet.
Right.
And you go get you a referee shirt, stuff like that. Go down there, and I'm going to have you referee 2 matches. So I get there, nervous. I'm 18 years old. He puts me in a tag match. I had 2 tag matches.
Oh,
he puts
tag
me
matches.
in a tag. And, tag matches are hard, right?
They're very hard.
Okay. I did good on the first one. The second one was the Midnight Express versus Rock and Roll Express.
Oh.
And Tommy Young was the head referee, so he was sitting ringside.
I love Tommy Young.
Looking at me, making sure I did not fuck up.
That would be super intimidating.
Everything.
I would probably shit my pants.
Well, listen to this. Everything went according to plan. I went down for the count, 1, 2, 3, and I lift Ricky and Robert's hands up, right? And I look down at Tommy Young, and he's laughing, and the whole building is laughing at me, and I'm like, oh, fuck, what did I do? And I look down at Tom, and he goes...
So he points down.
To my crotch.
Oh, no.
I had ripped, because I bought cotton pants, right?
Oh,
I had ripped from the belt all the way back around to the belt on the back and had no drawers on. So my balls are hanging out for the whole Amarillo, Texas to see.
Oh, my God.
The boys are curtain sellout in the back, and they're laughing their ass off. I was so embarrassed. I got out of the ring, and I went to the back, and they're just fucking giving me shit.
I think
that was me breaking into the business.
I think every ref learns that lesson at one point or another. Like, always wear underwear and always wear black underwear.
Right.
That actually, like, covers your butt. Because your pants will rip eventually. I've done it twice.
I made $20 that night.
$20.
$20.
Showing your balls to everybody.
Yes.
Most people make more money for doing that.
So you didn't like wearing underwear. I get that because, and how I know this, I have no idea. Dusty never liked wearing underwear either.
Why do you know this?
Now I like wearing underwear though, right? It's like I need something to hammock.
Yeah. He always wore his
things because I sit on them a lot as 50 years old, right?
Gravity's taking its
they're
toll,
starting
man.
to get droopier.
Yeah, Dusty used to wear his jeans bareback, and it was
Oh, boy.
something else.
Oh,
so
boy.
there you go. You have to have been a friend of his to know that.
Apparently. I've learned a lot today.
That's right.
Learned a lot about
A lot
everyone's
of
balls.
in their locker rooms in the cowboy boots and no pants, just walking around booking the towns.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, put some fucking clothes on, Dad.
You know, Dusty had said to me when he gave you the nickname The Natural. The nickname The Natural is a shoot because your aptitude for the business was above everybody else. You and Barry both. You took to the business. You were so much of you were natural in the ring, so that nickname was. And I remember him telling me, he said, "I'm giving him the nickname The Natural because he really is. The kid really knows what he's doing in the ring." And
I never heard that story before.
You never did?
No.
No.
I mean, he named me that, but I'd never heard the backstory of that.
Then that's true. And then there was the song that I know you loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that country song.
That was kind of cool.
That was
It's cooler now.
Right. Sure.
Than it was back then, I
get
think.
that now. But really, that's where the nickname came from.
Yeah.
And when you and Barry would be together, I mean, it was really magic. It really was. You both kids really, because some people have the aptitude. Some people grow up in the business and even don't have the aptitude, but you guys did. So.
You know what? How I saw it was, I was taking it from Butch Reed. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, he's going to be so mad.
Right.
You know? I was scared to death of Butch Reed. My God. I'm 20 years old. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Right.
It did come easy to me. And I don't know why. But my very first match was in Palatka in front of 12 people against Bad Bob Cook. And for the first time, because I learned in a wrestling ring that was actually a boxing ring with cinder blocks underneath it, no ropes.
Oh, boy.
And the first time I hit the ropes, I hit them with my arms down, and it snapped my neck. And I never did that again. But I took to it. It was easy. It was fluid for me, smooth, a lot like Barry. And I watched Barry constantly and grew up watching him. And just the way he would move in the ring is so smooth, man. One of the smoothest, best workers on the planet.
No question.
Unbelievable the way he moved around in that ring. And I wanted to be like Barry, you know, in a sense. And I tried mimicking a lot of the stuff that he did. And I'd hope it was different, you know, but it just became fluid for me and a lot easier. And I took to it like fish to water.
Yeah.
Very natural.
So here I am, the natural.
Yeah.
There
I
you
don't
are.
know if I'm not natural anymore because I forgot all that shit.
I don't know. I mean, I actually end up having discussions at home with all my friends about your matches because it's they're some of the most exciting on the show.
Wait till tonight. I'm gonna really fuck it up.
I've got your match tonight, so let's hope not.
I might die.
I'll
just
try
like,
and take care of you.
It'll be a great moment in TV if you do. I'll
That's
be
true.
calling it.
Ratings will go up.
Okay. Yeah.
Will y'all visit my funeral?
No.
No.
I'll go.
Okay. Flowers at least?
She'll go.
I'll send you flowers. What
Yeah.
kind of flowers do you like?
I don't really like flowers.
Then I won't send you flowers. I can send you some fake shit.
Just buy
You
me a
won't know
can of
you're
snuff
dead.
and put it on my...
So when you, Dustin, when you perform now, you
Yes.
you have a face
The
paint
half
half
face.
side. What's the meaning behind all that?
The meaning is, half natural. You have the Dustin Rhodes, but nobody has seen the unnatural yet. And that's a place that somebody pushes me a little far. It brings out a different side of me. So it signifies a lot of things. Like there's, trying to get back to the natural Dustin Rhodes and the old look of the 90s, WCW look, but still loving the face paint because it is part of what I've done for so long, and I love the face paint.
It's part of your identity.
And you have the red and the black, which signify to me, the good, the light, and the dark. And when there's an unnatural happening, it's completely different, and nobody's seen that yet. And I hope I never have to pull that out because nobody's like really damaged me to the extent of me having to dig deep. But the unnatural is in there. So I kind of use it like that, the natural side, the unnatural side. And then there's the really unnatural.
One of the things I loved, I think it was Philly, maybe it was Philly, you tagged with Sonny Kiss and his gear matched yours.
That was sweet.
Did you know about that ahead of time?
I did not.
Oh my God.
And he wanted to shoot videos all night.
I love the little clip of you guys walking down the hall.
Yeah, little things like that.
Little
And
saunter.
That was special for him and very special for me. And I love Sonny
Sonny's
to
the best.
death.
Yes.
And he's quite the athlete.
You're
He
not
really
kidding.
is, man.
Oh my.
And if I can just get him a little bit more volatile, that's what I'm working on, to have him explode a little bit harder. I think he's going to be a big star. And I do want to tag with him again. And hopefully down the road we can do it again. So,
Be wonderful.
Yeah.
I think you two,
I love Sonny.
you two obviously have some chemistry together in the ring. It was a great match. And like even
And
seeing
maybe
you guys,
this next time I'll shake my ass, my old ass, like
Maybe.
he does, and try to do the
Try and
what's it
twerk?
called? The crunk?
the twerking.
Oh, is it a twerk?
Twerk.
Try to twerk a little bit. What's a crunk?
I don't know.
You gotta get crunk. with
Crunk,
it.
crunk is like, I think like partying.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it's way too old. For
It's way
me
too
to
old.
be
I mean, like,
twerking.
no, it's, I mean, I'm too old to be twerking. So
You are?
Oh, yeah.
How old are you? Like 20?
I'm 32.
3?
thanks though. No, I'm older than I look.
How old's that lady over there?
Oh, she's
She's
probably
23.
23.
Yeah.
Don't
You're
say
right.
nothing. They can hear you. You're the producer. You can't do that.
So I want to talk a little bit about your hashtag, your Keep Steppin'.
Yes.
Where does that come from?
Comes from my father. This is probably and I appreciate you bringing that up. The one thing that means the most to me, I think now, later in life. I was very bad into drugs and alcohol for a good chunk of 4 or 5 years. And it got really, really terribly bad. And I did not care about life. I didn't care about my daughter. I didn't care about anything, except drinking and taking pills and doing cocaine. That's all I cared about. And it got really bad. And I had a 3-day little binge, and I could not snap out of it, and it scared me. And that was my rock bottom. The third day happens, man, and it's 4 a.m, and I'm just, a lot of things are going on in my body. And at that point, I had lost everything because I had pawned everything. I lived in a little garage connected to somebody's house that I was renting out, as big as this room, maybe a little smaller. Had nothing except clothes and a few things, and no cell service. Dad gave me one of his bought pay phones or whatever, or cell phones. So I had to crawl up, or if I needed cell service, I had to go up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
We lived on this kind of hill. So, and it's pouring down rain. It's 4 a.m. My wife is there now. She was with me through all of this, and she helps me crawl out. I'm so shit-faced. And I crawl up the hill, and I call my dad.
Love you, buddy.
I call my dad, and I tell him that I need help. And WWE has the rehab wellness program for anybody who's been there or is still there. And they got me in the next day. So I loaded up on drugs and alcohol going into rehab. I get out of rehab 30 days later, and I haven't turned back, and it's almost 12 years. And from that day I got out of rehab, Dad would call me every day to make sure that I was working my program. Mm-hmm. And I went to an AA meeting for 2 years straight every single night. And each phone call would end, you just keep stepping, Dustin. I'm proud of you, and this and that. So that's
That's where that comes from.
That is where that comes from.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Really, because I know that's very deep, and that means a lot. Your dad was certainly a great man, and he started my career, and he started many people's career. Looking back on, if he was with us today, what do you think he would think of what you and Cody are doing, and how the business has changed today?
He would want to be a part of this, man. I mean,
You think he'd be here?
I do, actually. And if he wasn't able, he would be watching every week. He'd be on the phone constantly with us. Very proud. I know, without a doubt, he is here. He is looking down on us, and very proud of things I have done and the things that Cody is doing and has yet to have done. Extremely proud of us. He loved his kids very, very much.
Yeah, and well, we can pay homage to him every night we walk out, because that sign is there, and his bull rope is there for us to remember.
That's
that.
right.
Yeah. So we appreciate you being with us. Quickly, you have any projects that you got coming up you want to tell us about?
No? Well, when does this play?
Probably April.
What the fuck?
We're evergreen.
These things are evergreen. You can play them anytime. You can play them
Can I
anytime.
plug my website?
Absolutely.
Yes,
You can plug
plug
whatever
all
you
your
You
want.
can go get all my Dustin Rhodes official merchandise at rhodesdream.com, RHODESDREAM.com. You can get all my stuff there.
Okay. Very cool.
I'm doing movies.
Yeah.
I have one coming out in a couple days on Amazon Prime. So I'm excited for that.
Is it
But
an
if you're
action-
playing this in April,
Yeah.
then nobody's going to...
Well, no, Amazon Prime's
Everyone will have watched
forever.
it.
You can always.
Everyone
Amazon
will have
Prime, you
watched
can
it
check
already.
my film out, Copper Bill.
Copper
I did a
Bill.
great job. It was a very commanding performance I did.
Really?
Yes, it was, and I'm very proud of it. And hopefully one day I will be as big as The Rock. But
Like
more
physically
important,
or like fame?
fame. More importantly, but fame doesn't. Fame is not all it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not everything. I want to be a good actor. Mm-hmm. I want to walk the stage and get an Oscar. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what my next dreams and aspirations are after wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is always going to be a part of my life. Hopefully, I can retire here and still live my other dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, it's one of the great things about this company is that
Not going back to that WWE bullshit.
I mean, that's one of the great things about this company, right? Is it's about wrestling, but it's also about supporting you in your aspirations
Whatever you
and your
do, right.
dreams.
This company, AEW, is pretty impressive. There's not been anything happen that has disappointed me from any of our talent here. It is a team. I see it as a team, and everybody is working together. Everybody has their own things, but we know it's a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody falls down, we help them back up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the good thing about this company. We don't have a bunch of assholes here.
No.
We're not putting up with it. I'm not going to put up with it.
I don't think anyone does.
And they're all passionate and hungry. That's the big difference than anywhere else. And they're able to do this on live TV every week now.
That's great.
We just have to get them acclimated to live TV because a lot of them aren't used to that. But they're doing a tremendous job.
And so are you, buddy.
All of them. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Thanks
I'm
for
old
being
as
with
dirt.
us.
Thank you.
Okay. We appreciate it. We've been talking with the natural Dustin Rhodes. And a reminder, subscribe to the AEW Unrestricted podcast. By the way, it's for free. Did you know that?
For free.
For free, wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's free?
Yes,
know, sorry.
which
You
means
ain't
you're not
getting
getting
paid
paid
for
for this.
this.
That's right.
$8?
And be sure to
You
be
want me
sure
to
to
show me your balls.
be sure
I'm
to
sitting on them right now.
yes, you're 50. Be sure to tune in to AEW Dynamite Wednesdays, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central on TNT. I'm Tony Schiavone along with
Aubrey Edwards.
Thanks for listening to AEW Unrestricted.
Thank you, Justin.